perfect analysis
It's
on
worth
that.
noting that how do I want to put this? Um, the reason it's taken so long is because the government embargoed the issue. That's my area. The truth embargo is the term I came up with in around 2000, year 2000 to describe what was happening. It wasn't a UFO cover-up. It was a extraterrestrial phenomena truth embargo, or just a truth embargo. Capital T, capital E, a government policy, meaning like the embargo of Cuba. Uh, Cuba may be there, may not be there, but whatever's there, you can't go there. Well, but we know there's a Cuba. But in the case of the ET issue, they were embargoing something essentially that at the same time they said didn't exist, which is a way to really keep people away from it. And that embargo is held. It still holds, but like a dam that is slowly being eaten away down at the lower level. Usually, that's where they go down. The base kind of works its way into the soil, undermines the structure a little bit. It might take 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. But when it goes, it goes. And people can say, well, why didn't it go sooner? Because the dam had not weakened enough for it to go. And starting in 2017, the truth embargo, if you view it as a dam, started to weaken. And it's been weakening consistently ever since. And now it's about to collapse.
Can I ask you
We
to
just have,
speculate then? Where
yes,
do you
go
think in let's say 3 months, where do you think we're going to be in 3 months with the government's official position, given that
ahead.
the NASA committee came on last week and they were basically rubbishing the idea still, Bart Simpson balloons and all that kind of nonsense. We all know
Again,
it's out
yeah.
there. Where do we think we're going to be when the government comes out and said, it's here, it's real? Are they going to roll out the hardware, the bodies, or are they just going to say, we still don't know what it is?
Okay, that's 6 questions.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
First,
let's answer one, and then we'll get around to the hands. We got a bunch of hands
first
up,
and
Steve. So
foremost, again, one of my jobs as an activist, I'm doing all the media I can. I'm doing all the interviews I can. I've been somewhat off because of the pandemic and some other issues. Plus, I had to kind of come back to California for a while. I had to give up my office in DC. I'm not getting called by CNN or MSNBC or any mainstream entity. Not even Joe Rogan. But I'll do as much as I can because I have a 26-year perspective on this that allows me to see the bigger picture. The analogy I use is this. The way things happen is that you're in a museum and suddenly and you're walking and suddenly a giant picture is it just put up, right? Big painting, fantastic. But it's right there in front of you. You're practically an inch away. There it is. So everybody's standing there with their nose practically against this brand new massive painting, trying to figure out what it is. It's similar to the old 11 guys and an elephant thing. And so each one has a different perspective, and then it's confusing. But if they step back far enough and look at the whole painting long enough, they start to see the patterns. That's my job. And so NASA coming forward and doing that 4 hour report of its project to which it set up, which was unprecedented, and what their results were so far and what they thought of it, and then actually taking open questions, though carefully monitored. It wasn't wide open. That had never happened before, ever. And it was part of the fact that NASA's been getting into this issue since Bill Nelson was put on as administrator. And so it was exactly what you expect. NASA was going to come forward and say, oh, we know about the ETs. No. As I've said so many times, what NASA's doing, what the House is doing, what the DOD is doing, everything that you're seeing is not about telling you there's extraterrestrials here. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. It's not about putting together a program to deal with the fact that the government just found out there's something in the sky they don't know. It's not about that at all. The government has known about the ET presence going back to the mid-40s. And the people that needed to know have known. And this is true of many other countries. They have known for 75 years. What is going on now? You have to view it in the context of what is intended. What is going on now is that NASA and the Department of Defense and eventually the Air Force, God bless them, they're just sitting on their hands. The DIA, and Congress and so forth are going about all of the appropriate things that they should have done in 48 or 53 or 1993. All of the things they should have done to bring this issue to the public, to bring it to the president, to get formal confirmation and end the truth embargo, disclosure, capital D. But they didn't do it. And each decade that went by, their public relations problem grew and grew. It's like in a relationship. You can lie a couple times to somebody, but you lie to them for long enough, and you've got a major problem. Meaning, you tell the truth, and your spouse immediately hires a lawyer. So they've got a huge public relations problem. This is all public relations, all of it. The hearing, the briefings, the legislation, Arrow, and so forth, all public relations. They're trying to move this along in a way that makes sense, that draws the people in, that's transparent, that allows all the various departments to do what they need to accomplish several things. One, to create the basis for the president in a nonpartisan and appropriate and responsible way to be able to say to the American people, after the witness testimony has convinced everybody on the planet, that yes, it appears there is an extraterrestrial or non-human intelligence. I've confirmed that with my top people. And, well, guess what? We're not alone, something like that. That's one thing. The second thing it is that to have the public see all of these appropriate things happening, so when they finally learn that, they're going to be generous, which is what public relations is all about. Some celebrity does some awful thing, and then they hire a publicist, and they do all kinds of stuff, so that in time the public is generous with that celebrity and lets them, maybe star in a couple more movies. That's what's going on. And to be more specific, they know, the president knows, all of them know, that once they confirm the extraterrestrial presence, the game really begins.